All right, all right. This thing is on. It is on. Um, all right. Thank you. My name is Anthony Zender. I got another chance to speak again today. So I'll be just kind of like covering stuff I didn't cover and going through my slides again because I'm hearing people like my slides. So, yeah, that's just me as a kid. Got my grandfather there. You know, he worked with David Adair in Area 51 and Skunk Works on, all the secret stuff that they worked on. I went over it yesterday. And, that's where, the secrecy in my family began was what he was working on. And how I then found out that that's my family. Got my grandma there and she's actually 89 years old, and she was a nurse and a holistic healer, and she went to one of the mystery schools that I study in Rompta, and she went to the school and actually did the disciplines. And there's one where they have to get out on a field the size of a football field and then blindfold themselves. And with the same technique that I talked about yesterday with imagining your vision or whatever it is you create, they would be led to that picture on the field when they were blindfolded. So they were doing this in the mystery schools, and my grandmother is actually one of the reasons why I know the things I know, because she was aware of everything that's going on. She was one of the ones that knew about what was coming. So, I had two grandparents that were extraordinary, and that's where my lineage came from, my DNA, and then finding out that I was in the Targeted Individual Research Advanced Program, I found out that they target genetics that are pre-flood genetics. So people that have had lifetimes in pre-flood, those genetic lines are targeted. And I remember my life in Atlantis, because I remember the flood coming and destroying everything. And that was one of my lifetimes. And another lifetime that has connection with Atlantis was Egyptian. And that is actually where I had my memory recalls of my past life memory as an actual Jedi, which the Egyptians spell it D-J-E-D-I. And the Jedis were initiated in the pyramid. And I have my memories of being initiated in the pyramid. And they started coming back at 6 years old. I was having memories of hieroglyphs on the wall. And I was drawing pharaohs and stuff when I was 6. And then, the memories started coming back more. I was having dreams of going out on a terrace and just overlooking all of Egypt and white drapes hanging everywhere. And these was a past life, because I remember being initiated in the pyramids, and one memory, I'm sitting there in a cold, dark chamber, and I come to, and I'm in this cold, dark chamber, and I'm like, it is cold and dark in here. And it was when I remembered, I'm like, I'm being initiated in the pyramids right now. And it was cold and dark, and what happened was I was just sitting there, and I was in lotus position, and my body turned into light, and I just started levitating. And so that was, a full, Kundalini experience, which I remembered from a past life and being a Jedi. Because the Jed is your spine. That's why, and then when you have a Kundalini awakening, the Jed, the energy travels up your spine, which is the Jed, and then you become enlightened. And that's why the pharaohs had the snake coming out of their hat, is because it indicated that they had a Kundalini awakening. So when I had mine in this life, obviously my whole world changed around. I started meditating, doing martial arts, everything like that. And then there was one time where I went out on an end of a dock, and it was on this beautiful lake, and it was this. I went to the end of this dock, and it was mystical, and just a beautiful, just a mystical setting. And I went on the end of that dock, and I sat there for 45 minutes, and in meditation, and I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I see the all-seeing eye in my third eye, like I see it looking at me. And I'm looking at the all-seeing eye looking at me. And then I'm like, I identified it. I'm like, that's the all-seeing eye. And then it started blinking. And then I was like, whoa, that it's blinking. And then I popped out of my body and had an out-of-body experience. And I was flying over the desert. Like I saw the trees, and I saw, the rocks and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm over the desert right now, just flying. And then I looked up, and then boom, I see the Great Pyramid, just like there majestically. And I had popped out and bilocated to the Great Pyramid. And so that was, where I learned that, this is the Omega realm that I speak about. That I experienced, and that remote viewers are able to access this realm and see, anywhere in time and space, anywhere in the universe. And you even do it in your dreams, whether you're conscious of it or not. And, the purpose of it is making the unconscious conscious. So that's what the path that I started to take when I had my Kundalini awakening, was making the unconscious conscious. And I started studying everything, started studying the tarot, which the tarot, it does that. It makes the unconscious conscious. It has symbols to bring up the unconscious into the conscious so you can bring it up. And the tarot was created in the pyramids. And so I started doing that, and this was the spiritual part of my awakening, and understanding that there was more to reality than met the eye. Okay, yeah, I've got, the GATE program. This is obviously connects to the GATE program because it's all about psychic ability and being able to access the other side, the other realm. And I was identified, as a child, and then I was groomed and obviously put through trauma, because trauma is what activates the ability. That's what I went through as a child. So those are, my uncle's squadrons: Black Sheep, Harrier Squadron, and the Diamondbacks, F-18 Squadron. That's when I was put in that simulator and flew the F-35 at 13 years old, test piloting it. And then, this is, talked about my MyLab experiences. Because I didn't know I didn't know I was being taken when I was a kid, but I now know when I'm being taken, and because I'll be laying there, and then I'll just like go up into this tube of light, and it's like a rainbow tube of light, and you can feel your consciousness like just circling up into it, and then you can feel it coming back down, like when you're coming back. And then when you wake up, you're like, whoa, I just been somewhere else. Like something's not right. So that happens to me periodically, and then I'll know I had been taken for a mission. That's me in the Marines. These are fighting pictures because I, unlocked. Obviously, this is one of my gifts and abilities, is to fight, and have 38 fights, and I'm kicking that guy in the head there. And I also boxed. That guy was not happy about that. he thought he won, but I dropped him in the first round, and he didn't drop me at all. So, like, but Osirian Ninjutsu is basically the martial art that I made up or that I created. And it did come from obviously an Egyptian background because I'm remembering all of these memories as a Jedi and, my initiation in the pyramids. So I combined Egyptian with ninjutsu, and there's many different things about this art that is very very effective because it teaches you how to control the universe. So soft disclosure, talked about that. They get it out in the movies and the video games. That's soft disclosure, and it's right there in front of your face, the truth. And it's not a movie, but that's how you do it. You disguise it as fiction so that people don't think it's real, and that's part of the mind control programming and stuff like that we're going to be breaking out of. And knowing what soft disclosure is important knowledge to have to break out. So went over these different shows that show the different disclosure concepts, and Dollhouse is one. They show MK Ultra. They show programming of altars. Jason Bourne is another one because he has been involved in all these missions that he can't remember, but he comes back. And then Bloodsport Bloodshot's another one where they show nanotech and mind erasing and mind manipulation technology. And so these are the other ones, the Matrix. We all know about the Matrix, and actually the path of the one is actually the ultimate hero's journey that there is. And they show that in the Matrix. And we are all actually on our own path of the one, our own hero's journey. So we're all Neo, waking up and to who and what we really are and what we can really do. And like lucid dreaming. Because like one lucid dream I had, I came to, and I was on this beautiful lake, and I was on this like stone platform, and it was like these hanging gardens, and then there were those platforms were like spread out all throughout the lake, and I was like, whoa! I was like, wow! I'm lucid. And I'm like, I can fly. like that's what I was like, I can fly. And then I started flying. I just started flying, and I was flying all over and just looking all over this land. And this land was just so vast and beautiful, and these waterfalls coming out of the mountains, and these little villages and stuff of people. And I'm just flying around, and I'm going down and looking at the villages and stuff, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And I remember being in the dream. Okay, I'm just hold this. I'm hold this. I gotta hold this, because I was aware that I was dreaming and that I wasn't obviously having a non-local experience, because this is locality, and then non-locality is the omega domain. And that's where your consciousness is. That's where frequency domain is. So there's local and non-local. There's mind and matter. There's outside of time and space, inside of time and space. There's idealism and materialism, the mental and the physical. Idealism is that you believe that consciousness is primary. These are philosophical concepts. And materialism, because either you're an idealist or a materialist. And a materialist believes that matter is primary. And that's like you ask any neuroscientist or scientist, they say that it's the brain that produces consciousness, but it's actually the other way around. And so that's important to understand in the paradigm shift of the nature of understanding the nature of reality, because it's not material. It's immaterial, and it's mind, it's all mental. Mind is what creates matter. And inception, that's an important one for dreams and planting in memories and stuff, because you can do that. You can implant memories into the unconscious, and then they become conscious. Like, that's what they show in Inception. So Tenet is another one that shows how time works and time travel, and how it goes backwards and forwards simultaneously. And when you're on a 20 and back, you actually experience this, though, because you get taken on a timeline, and then you live that timeline, and then you get sent back, and then you live this timeline. So you're going forward, but you're experiencing going back too, because you've been sent back. So Tenet is how you experience time when you've been involved in time travel. And Looper's another time travel movie. Ender's Game is one where they show, training children and stuff for war, and that's part of the program. Black Widow is another one showing, training children to be assassins and all of that. Ultraviolet is one that shows, genetic experimentation and genetic evolving, and because they do that on super soldiers, they put ET genetics in you. And whatever. And Artemis Fowl is, shows secret society, child prodigies. Tomorrowland, actually they show Project, what is it? Project Stargate, or they show, which one is the one they can see in the future? Does anyone know what project that is? What is it? Looking Glass, yeah. So they show Project Looking Glass in Tomorrowland. And, that movie you can get into. But actually, another thing about Project Looking Glass, too, is they take the children, the psychic children, and they hook them up to an AI. Actually, 3 different AIs that run Project Looking Glass, and they use the children's psychic ability to do Project Looking Glass. I found that out. So, Ghost in the Shell, consciousness transfer, because consciousness transfer is real. They do it. It's soul capture technology. They can literally take out your consciousness and put it into another body, which is a clone, because they clone you as well, being part of the Super Soldier program. So whenever you need for a mission, go through MK Ultra, they pull up an altar, they program the altar, they transfer your consciousness into a clone body, you go on the mission, you either die or you come back, and that's what you experience. And Mirror's Edge is another one, so super soldiers, like what they're trained in, acrobatics and running. And runners are a type of super soldier that can run so fast that you can't even see them. So, and then plus the time, it's all actually, there's a game called Quantum Break that reveals the super soldier's abilities with time, because I talked about the time bubble, stopping time, and then we can run fast, so fast that time slows down. That's what I experienced when I ran over the walls. I was moving so fast that everything slowed. Yeah. So, Umbrella Academy, they show, the cover of a family of the family is superheroes, but the cover is the family. And that's exactly what my family experienced too, being in the program. So the cover was the family, and my whole family was used for the secret space programs. And Alter Carbon is another consciousness transfer one. Infinite is reincarnation. Reincarnation is real, whether you remember it or not. I have my memories and stuff. I've been alive like countless lifetimes. So, what is that one right there? Gamer is another one that they show consciousness transfer. They show a kid able to pilot an actual body, which is actually what we're doing anyways. Our souls are located in the omega domain. It's non-local. This explains quantum physics, general relativity. This unites it. But our souls are literally not here. They're in another domain of existence, and we are projecting into this domain in occupying these bodies with our mind being the link. So that's why your mind is it's dimensionless, and your body is dimensional. So you got these two different realms of existence, which is more than just the material, because science just says there's the material. But there's two realms because it's a dual aspect monism. That's what the nature of reality is. It's dual, but it's one. It's a monism too. So Assassin's Creed is another one, about secret societies that are gathered together fighting the darkness, because Infinite's another one of those. Throughout time. Jupiter Ascending's another one. They show they show ETs in that. They show, Anunnaki. They show reptilians. That's probably the best movie I've seen a depiction of a reptilian of, because it's pretty crazy looking. Last Starfighter's another one about, them recruiting kids from video games and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to be told when to go or to keep going. Sue? Okay. Yeah, Watch Dogs is another one, about a team of, people that are gathered together to fight the surveillance state that is going on. Those missions are happening right now. Ghost Recon is another one. Those Black Ops are actually real. I was informed from my files. I was actually involved in one of those from the game Ghost Recon. What is it? It's not Break. It's the next one. But it's a drug cartel infiltrating a drug cartel. Wildlands. No, it's the one with El Sueño in it. Is that Wildland? Yeah. So Black Ops mission, and I was informed that I was involved in a drug cartel infiltration mission there, infiltrating the FARC, which is the armed forces revolutionary of Colombia. I was there, and I have memories of being in Colombia, and going into like these mansions, where people are having these huge parties and stuff, and as well as other memories as well. But that was a infiltration op of taking down a drug cartel that I was involved in, and another mission as well where we are apprehending the child traffickers, because I have a mission recall of going into the King's Tower in Saudi Arabia and apprehending these princes or whatever they were from the King's Tower, and they were involved with the trafficking of children. So that's going on behind the scenes. Is Black Ops teams are apprehending these people. And James Bond is another one, just showing Black Ops. ACIO, I'll keep going. I met, ACIO, very important. This is the highest level of information and disclosure that you're going to hear. Because the 12th Division Director, whose name he goes by Peter the Insider, he's worked with many different high-level military units, even the paramilitary unit in the CIA. Like, he was part of that, and he actually got recruited by the ACIO and he's now the 12th Division Director, and he doesn't show his face when he talks because of operational security. But yeah, I'm still in contact with him as well right now, so he's able to give me all the information. And they are the intelligence contact intelligence or alien contact intelligence organization, and they are located in Pine Gap, Australia. That's Pine Gap right there. Dark Fleet are the bad guys. They are the Nazis in space. You know, because Hitler, you know, fled to Antarctica or fled to South America, went to Antarctica. You know, they had their whole run-in with Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd's fleet got messed up, and the Nazis, you know, went to the moon and beyond, and turned to into Dark Fleet. So that's not notched Waffen is what they call Dark Fleet. TIRAT program, I talked about that. If you're involved in being a targeted individual, you're involved in this. They neurologically monitor you. They monitor you in your dreams. They are constantly following you everywhere you go. When I would like do my practices, because I do my meditations all the time, my mom actually, I mean, I see people following me everywhere, but my mom actually saw a person outside of my room taking pictures of the room, you know, because obviously what I'm doing is affecting something around me and stuff. So they're taking pictures of me, following me everywhere, and that they are doing this to actually more people than not. Actually, they're doing it to everyone because we're living in the 1984 right now. But that's what we're waking up to, because they're taking down the flock cameras. You know, this is a good thing because the people are waking up to, you know, the surveillance state. So they're ripping down the flock cameras now and fighting back because it's time to realize what's going on. So that's a picture of the TR series craft that holographically project images. You know, they obviously, we'll talk about 9/11, that wasn't a plane that went into the building. You can tell, it's a holographic image. So it's blue beam. They use blue beam in 9/11. And so this is one of the aircraft. This is one of the craft. It's a TR series craft. It's not a TR3 because they have obviously advanced. They've advanced to like TR6s and stuff. And I've heard this information from the ACIO. Yeah, that's a video of the, yeah, I'll just go on. 20 and back. You're involved in 20 and backs. I've been involved in multiple 20 and backs. There's 40 and backs, and there's 60 and backs. There's more than 20 and backs, too. So, yeah, that's just, you know, like I said, it's important to understand that you get taken off this timeline, on outside of this timeline, and live a whole nother life. Get your mind erased, send back, and then live out your life on this timeline. Having experienced, you know, going into other dimensions, because super soldiers we're sent into other dimensions, and you know, it gets a little crazy sometimes when you're putting it all together. Yeah. Mars Colony Corporation is real. I have memories of Mars. I have memories of actually fighting giant spiders on Mars, like giant, like silver spiders, and a guy getting eaten right next to me. Like he got eaten. And also on Mars are the mantids, and they are highly psychic. They just fight psychically. And I remember being infiltrated in my mind by a mantid. And you don't want to mess with higher level consciousness. So the ICC is the Industrial Corporate Conglomerate, and it makes up, you know, the secret world that no one knows about. They're involved in, you know, interstellar, you know, human trafficking, and, you know, all these different, you know, technologies and off-world, you know, things off-world projects and just all these corporations that I went over yesterday that no one knows about because they're not going to talk about them, because they're black operations corporations, because they work on technologies that this world doesn't know exist. So obviously they're not going to be in mainstream media. So, hey Sue, are you around? No? Okay. Kruger is, in these corporations, this is all information from the ACIO. There are positive and negative factions. And, one is actually fighting for the greater good of humanity, and one is definitely fighting for our destruction and enslavement. And Kruger is one of the positive corporations that are involved in the manufacture of super soldiers. So they are looking out for our best interest. And what I got, 5? We're good? 15, 20 minutes? Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. I just need to know how much time I had. Because, there really is no time. Because actually Chronos and Kairos time from the source, and just my awakening, my awakening up and my seeking the truth brought me to all the sources of information that I needed to get, so I could handle it, and I'm glad you guys can too. So yeah, Kruger's one of the good guys. CyberLife is the good guys as well, and they do disclose these in video games as well. These corporations are disclosed in video games. So they make androids. Shoreline is responsible for extracting information through consciousness. And like through DNA, they are responsible for extracting information. They're like guardians of consciousness and information. And this is their Uncharted is the game that is they're on. The game Detroit Become Human is the game this is on, and the game Mirror's Edge is the game that this one's on. Trinity is one that goes around and gets all the artifacts around the world, all the special alien artifacts, all the artifacts, that are responsible for, piloting, alien technology. They're basically looking for having that. And this is disclosed in the game Tomb Raider. Delphi is one that they were not good. They were responsible for making scents and aromas and gases, and they first were responsible for making mustard gas and all that. But then since then they have they're starting to make healing modality like aromas and scents. And Typhon Group is weather control. They are the ones that control the weather. And all these groups are interdimensional as well. So you have to take that into consideration too. They're in our dimension, but they are from a parallel dimension. Monarch is not the good, yeah. Yeah. It's your power that's doing it. It's your power that's changing the weather. So it's right. They're doing their own thing with the weather, yeah. So Monarch Solutions is one of the bad corporations that's involved in time manipulation and time travel, and they are the ones behind CERN and all the stuff that CERN's doing and messing things up, like creating Mandela effects, where the hyphens taken out of the Kit Kat bar, and Britney Spears is wearing a black skirt instead of a plaid skirt, and Chick-fil-A is missing a K, and the Bernstein Bears is the Bernstein Bear, and all these Mandela effects are remnants of them messing around with time. So, and the monarch is responsible for that. Mobius is responsible for making the matrix that we live in, but the thing is that the matrix has actually been down since April 20th of 2024. So it's down, and we are. That's why it's important for us to be creating our reality right now, because that's what I was taught before all this stuff happened. In the mystery school I was in, was to create my reality. That's what I was doing for the years leading up to this. I was sitting and creating my reality, imagining my world into existence, seeing my future, becoming the mind gladiator of the future. Because that's a book that one of my mentors wrote, because the mind gladiators of the future are going to just be able to just manifest on the spot. And that's part of the future that's coming. And I've created my reality. I'm not part of the matrix anymore. I'm definitely outside of it and a creator of my own matrix and my own reality. So that's why I'm passing this information on. Murkoff is responsible for like human experimentation and stuff. They have Nazi origins. They were harvesting adrenochrome in the death camps. They were figuring out about psychic ability too, because the whole Nazi movement, it wasn't just a political movement, it was all occult. That was the real power behind it. And these groups were experimenting with, the Holocaust victims and adrenochrome and stuff. So the Murkoff was doing human experiments. Umbrella is one that is, they disclose this in Resident Evil, and they do all the, they have deep underground military bases where they're doing all sorts of ungodly experiments. And, these bases are being cleared out, though. They are being cleared out. Yeah, you can actually hear bombs going off called fusion implosion bombs that are actually being used to take out these bases. So Shaw House is another one. They're one of the families, because these families, they stay in power through passing their power down in perpetuity through the wealth. That's how they're able to, because if you want to see where the power is, you just follow the money. And the families have the money, so they're able to pass the power down through inheritance. But in the future, actually, all the inheritance is actually going to go to the state. But the state is actually going to be ran by meritocratic people that actually are going to do the best things with that money. So this is how the future looks. The government of the future looks. And it is for the best that this happens, because it stops them from passing down their money. And it's the nail in the coffin to their power. So that a meritocracy is. And that's just political. Because politically, democracy and monarchy is what's in, but it's collapsing now, because this is what is actually known to the Pythagorean Illuminati as the old world order. It's old. It's not new. It's old. It's been going on for millennia that they've been doing this, enslaving us since the Roman times, Egyptian time, all the way back. It's an old world order. It's not new. A new world order is something new. It's a new economic paradigm. It's a new political paradigm. It's a new religious paradigm. But that's the one thing that they don't want people to know. And that's why they flipped everything around, because they do know that there's one thing more powerful than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. So if people understand what a new world order is, that is actually what a Star Trek future looks like. That's what a meritocracy looks like. This is all from the secrets. They literally say a meritocracy is what Star Trek looks like. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's going to the stars. Everybody's achieving their optimal attainment because they're actually identified when they're kids and they're on what they're good at, and they're trained at what they're good at, and then they're master what they're good at, and then they're able to give back to the society and community. So everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a part. And no one doesn't have a purpose. So this is what a meritocracy looks like, and this is what will replace democracy, because democracy it's corrupted. You know, the people of privilege get into power, not the people of merit, and this ends them. Yeah. And monarchy too, because why are we calling ourselves subjects to people that walk around in purple, colored things and weird hats and stuff like that? Like, that's why people need to wake up, in the UK too, that monarchy is also, okay, yeah. Monarchy is also not the way of governance. Meritocracy is actually how the higher civilizations that have reached higher levels than we have are running run their government. So and old world order is collapsing. The economic system's collapsing. Free market Zionist capitalism is collapsing because it gives all the money. So you have a you're uneven. You have trillionaires, and then you have people with nothing, and this definitely evens it out. And it's actually called social and national capitalism, which replaces free market Zionist capitalism. Yeah, because there's a whole battle for stargates going on over there for with alien species, and yes, that they are definitely, that's what's really going on over there. So yes. Definitely. Who? Yeah, the best way is just to, with these slides, I guess, because the slides break down and they actually put what, concepts are of disclosure are in them so you can see them. I guess if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to see them. So just identifying what you see in the movies to be disclosure, make sure you take note of that, and then you're able to point that out to whoever it is you're giving this information to. Would be the most important way to do that, and have them watch the movies. Tell them that it's soft disclosure, and that's the best way. Right. Well, if you're interested, you're connected, because being in mystery schools is part of understanding. It's a lifelong thing. Yeah, it's reincarnation. Mystery schools. The Gnostics were mystery schools. The Freemason is another mystery school. The Rosicrucians are another mystery school. You can study them on your own. And it's more than on the physical level. It's the invisible college. So yeah, all you have to do is have the wanting to be in a mystery school, and then you will be initiated, because I'm actually a hierophant. Like a hierophant is somebody that can initiate somebody into the mysteries. So I learned about that from my teacher, who was a hierophant, and he's like, I am a hierophant, and you are learning. He told me what I just told you. So yeah, that will get you into the mysteries. Yeah. Any other questions? No, it is. Move is the future. Yeah. Educationally, people are gonna get. That's what everybody. The solution. There is already a solution in place, and yeah, the kids are going to be They're gonna identify what they want to do, and then they're gonna be able to master that, and then provide to the community, and then that's why it's gonna be a Star Trek future, because everybody's gonna be doing what they want to do, and that's the future. So. Any others? Right. Yeah. No, I am a volunteer. You know what I'm saying? I am willingly doing everything I'm doing, for the good of humanity, for the greater good. And I've been, thank you. I've been like infiltrated into the darkness. Like that was part of the missions that I was involved in for Kruger. I found this out through my files. Like I was told that I was infiltrating into the bad guys. Having to sabotage, having to steal. Having to do actually dark things at times. But for the greater good. So, and yes, I'm still involved willingly, because it's my purpose. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yes, I can. I can definitely do that. Yeah, the med beds are definitely real, because I have actually had an experience where I was injured, and I actually remember there was shards coming out and went into my back, and then I remember my back was injured, and I was put into a med bed. I remember being placed in the med bed, and it was like it just went away, and then the pain went away, and then I also had a dream where I was in this dream, and this is where I was able to, because I'm able to see into the future. And in this dream, I was with my brother, and I was with my mom and my sister, and they were beat up. They were beat up and tired, and like everybody is, everybody's beat up and tired. And in the dream, it was just dark. Everything was dark, but then everything turned into light like that, and a portal of light came into the reality, and then everything changed into light, and there was med beds right there, and me and my sister just went for the med beds and got in them, and then I woke up from that memory. But that's what I wanted to say was, when this change happens, it's going to be from dark to light, like in a snap, in an instant. And literally, we're going to go from one context of existence to another context of existence in a blink of an eye. And that was me seeing that happening, because I can see into the future, and I was seeing that. So people are going to get med beds. People are going to get crystalline chambers. You're not going to want the med beds when you learn about the crystalline chamber, like. But yeah, it's like I said, get ready, because when it happens, it's going to happen in a flash. So I'm good. Anthony Zender out.